Now we'll practice all these annotations one by one so that you can understand how to use them, when to use them. So let's create a new package and then we'll create a scenario. The scenario I'm going to do here is data-driven testing. TestNG programs package I'm creating. Is here TestNG package, create a TestNG programs package, and then how to create a TestNG class. So right click on this package, TestNG, create a TestNG class. Choose create a TestNG class option, and here give the TestNG class name. The class name I am giving Google search data driven test. So I'll choose all these annotations: before method, after method, data provider, before class, after class, before test, after test, before suit, after suit. So let's take all the annotations. So we need to see which order they will execute. But all the annotations you won't use in the real time, and we'll see. So the order of execution I want to show you. So the code, okay, so what is the error? Why you're getting all these errors? Don't worry. This is just you need to add TestNG library. You need to add a TestNG library. We need to add to the project. Once you add TestNG library to the project, then it will start working. And so here some error. Just see that gone. All errors are gone. That the structure you will get automatically. You don't need to do anything. So what I am doing, actual scenario, first understand the scenario. The scenario is, I'll open the Google website. Okay, open a Google website. Then type the different keywords. First I'll type Selenium keyword. I'll fetch this results count for Selenium keyword. Then again I'll go back to Google and I'll go back to Google, then type second keyword, Cucumber. Press enter key. So again I need to fetch this results for the Cucumber. And see the scenario is same. Then type one more keyword, Cypress. And then I have to do fetching this results count. So scenario is Google search only, but keywords are changing. So this is what we call data-driven testing. Same scenario with different sets of data we are going to test. That is called data-driven testing. So how to do data-driven testing? A scenario is same, but the keywords you are going to input, those are different. Different sets of keyword you are going to input for the test method. And that keywords I'm going to store in the data provider annotation. Here I'm going to store. And test method, you can use a test method. This is the test method, right? And test method inside will write the logic. The mapping already given here. Data provider and the test method mapping done already. At the rate test data provider equal to DP. The method name they have given. You can give different name also here. Method name you can change. Okay. Out of all these things, the first you have to declare your web driver as a global variable. Why we need to declare a global variable? Because I need to use this WebDriver variable all the annotation methods. That's why I'm declaring globally. Then you can declare private. WebDriver weight also I'll declare as a global variable. WebDriver weight also I'll declare as a global variable. Declare that also a global variable. So where I need to pass these values. So now this is a null, right? This is a null. So instance variables, these are instance variables, these having a null value. Then I pass those values in the before class or wherever it is. That will do. But there are a before suit, after suit is there. Let's start from before suit, before test. As of now, I'm not going to write any code for these things. I just want to show you the order. That's why I have taken these things. Now, so there is a logger in the TestNG automatically. So you have a logger, built-in logger in the TestNG. So this is the one, reporter dot log. All your log messages you can do with this reporter dot log. This reporter dot log messages will show in the reports. I have explained the reports, right? Default test.html, emailable report.html, index.html. These reports inside this reporter.log messages will show. Whatever the messages you are going to write here, these messages will show in the reporter.log, in the reports. Now, right, this reporter.log is nothing but your system.out.println. System.out.println will print to the your Eclipse console, but reporter.log will log these messages in the reports. The TestNG reports inside these messages will show it to you. Now, reporter is a class here in the TestNG. Log is a static method. That's why class name dot static method we are calling. Now, I'll mention. I'm inside the @ before suit. I'll write still few more, one more. I'll write reporter.log. So there are overloaded methods. This log method. This annotated method will execute before all test methods. All test methods in the suit. All test methods in the suit before this annotated method will execute. Same I'll repeat in the after suit also. So just write I'm inside the after suit annotation. After suit annotation inside, I'm writing some code. Then you have reporter.log. This annotated method will execute after all the test methods inside the suit. After all the test methods in the suit have run. Then this after suit will execute. Basically, you can execute the test cases completely suit files execution after. Finally, after suit code will execute. Then before test. So before test, before test, I'm inside the before test. Then, so before test, when it will execute, before test code will execute, this annotated method will execute before all the test methods inside the test tag. Inside the test tag classes. inside the test tag classes. So before all test methods inside the test tag classes. Test tag classes before this annotated method will be executed. And after test means, so this also same. This also, so I'm inside the after test annotation. After test and remove this suit. This annotated method will be executed, will execute after all the tests, after all test methods inside the test tag have run, then it will execute after test code. Completely the test tag inside classes test methods are over, then the cursor will come to after test. So this is the after test code. So in the before class, so what I'm going to do here is before class I'll actually launch my browser. I launch my browser. Okay, I'm inside the before class annotation. This, so maybe you can change this test method if you want. You can change this method names. All these method names you can change. Suppose I want to do this launch browser. So right, this is the launch browser code I'm writing here. That launch browser code I'm going to write here. So this is the, so set up the browser code. Okay, so set the Chrome driver .exe path, and you can write that Chrome driver.exe path setting. This entire code let's call here. So I'm setting up this entire thing, right? Then all these steps, all these steps you can write. So reporter dot log, and you write this log messages. Okay, you write this log messages. The log messages you can put here, saying that to maximize the window. Every comment you put inside this reporter.log. So add implicit wait. Maybe you can put after this this statement execution also you can put maximize the window. Then you will come to know the statement is executed perfectly without any issues. That also you can do that. And create an object for WebDriver wait class. That's it. So this is the code I'm writing in the before class. And after class, I just want to close my browser. I'll put quit WebDriver or quit browser. So whatever the name you want, you can give name, any name, it doesn't matter. Okay, so reporter.log, and I am inside after class, and then you write a code. The code is, maybe you can put driver.quit or driver.close, whatever you want. Okay, I'll just put if so driver is not null. If driver is not null, then close this browser. Driver.close, over. So after class also we have implemented. Then in the data provider, we need to store the data. So I told you we need to create a two-dimensional array object. I'll just create this two-dimensional array object. I'll remove all these things and just put, let's create a object two-dimensional array. So new object, and so number of rows and number of columns we have to give here, right? Number of rows and number of columns we have to give. So how many rows, how many no keywords you want to give? I want to give 5 keywords. and only one parameter, only search keyword, okay, only search keyword, string search keyword, or you can write just yes, whatever it is, that's fine. In the test method, so this search keyword, whatever you are storing here, that needs to come here, and you will write wherever you are inputting this data, that will type the every time value. So the now first row means data of 0 0, first row first column, so I'm doing Selenium. Okay, then second row data, row count will increase now, and always column is only one, that's why you can do this. So UFT, another keyword I am giving. Third row is data 2 and first column, so equal to Cypress. So like this you can give n number of keywords. Fourth row and data of 3 and first column only one, we can give cucumber, another keyword. Like this it will repeat. Fifth row, so data, fifth row, and so column. So then you can give next keyword, whatever it is, protractor. These are all the automation tools. Okay, these are all automation tools I am giving. And if 5 rows are done, I have stored the data in the data provider annotation, and I am returning this two-dimensional array object. So this array contains now all these values. Okay. Now I need to supply this data to my test method. How I am supplying? Yesterday we discussed. Today I am showing practically this, how to map, how to supply a data provider annotation data to your test method. Is this is the procedure. @test bracket data provider equal to this data provider method name I'm giving, or you give here the name. Suppose you have given the name, so name equal to, so this name you need to provide there. Let me give you a name, Google search data. So this name I need to provide there. If you have a name for the data provider, and if you give the method name, it will throw error for you. Make sure you provide the name only, data provider name. Okay, if you don't have a data provider name, then you can pass this data provider method name. Otherwise, so you have to give mandatorily data provider name. Okay, now still in the before method we'll implement, then we'll go for the @test. Before method, what we'll do, every test case after, every test case before method will execute, then it will go to test code, then test code after, it will go to after method. So this is what it is happening, right? That's what it is going to happen. So I'm going to do here the browser launching, the URL launching code I will do here. So I'll just say open the URL, the method name I'll change, open the URL. You can change any name, it's up to you, method name, what you are doing inside, at all steps, summary, what you can put as your method name, and log. So I'm inside the @before method, @before method. Okay, now first open the URL, reporter.log, and this log messages we need to see. So report.log is, and open the google.com website, right? So what is the code? driver.get of URL. So what is the URL? So https://google.com, you type it. Then So you need to wait for this page title, right? So reporter dot log, wait for the page title. Page title. How can you wait? To wait dot until. We are very familiar with this statement, right? Every class we are using this. Title is. What is title is? That is Google. That's the title. We have seen that many times. Okay. Then assertions. So there are assertions also. We can use assertions also. And there are two types of assertions in the test engine. One is hard assertions and soft assertions. I'll explain soft assertions later. As of now, use hard assertions. Hard assertions and soft assertions difference is hard assertion line fails. The remaining entire test code will skip automatically. It will terminate the program execution. That's the hard assertion execution point of view. And soft assertion, it will validate, verify that if the step fails, it won't stop there. It will continue the program execution. At the end, it will return for you which line you got an error. It will log for us. That's a soft assertion. So whichever you want, you can use. As of now, we will use hard assertions. Then we'll go for soft assertions. We'll explain later. So you have to see org.testng. So you should not use org.junit. You should not use. So look for the testng. So wherever testng is there, so you have to take that testng one, not the junit. So things. So all are junit one only it is showing. So then I need to see the class. The class we need to change. The class I think. Assertion, I think class, not assertions. I think assertion. Then dot you put, you can get automatically. Yeah, assertion. You can see here, assertion arg.testng dot asserts. So these are the methods. Assert equals assertion dot assertion. Why it is not showing? Assertion. Okay, java.lang open test. Okay, so take this. Where is the methods? Assert equals assert. Let's see here. Yeah, this one asserts dot assertion. Okay, asserts dot assertions, but package is this one. Class is this one only. And why the methods it is not showing? Let's see this again. So we have to write here. So let's write assert equals assert equals. So I'm going to give Google, and the actual title you can get from driver.get title. And so cannot make a static reference to the non-static method assert equals. Okay, non-static method. You have to create object, then you have to use this. It's saying non-static method. So I think the changes happened. That this is the non-static method. So we'll do this assertions we are going to use many times, right? I'll create a global variable. For first, I'll create here. Assert equal to new assertion class. I'm creating object. Okay. Insert not null check. Type mismatch. So Anyhow, I'll use this later. So I'll declare globally hard assertion. We can put hard assertions. Let's put hard assertion, hard asset, and this variable I'll declare globally. So globally you declare private assertion hard asset. So now, so this is the gun. Now you can use this hard asset dot this values. Before it was a static method. I think they changed it now completely. Okay. Okay. Done. Assertions also done. What else you can do in the before method? That's enough for us. Just launching the browser, URL, and then validate the page title. So I have shown you hard assertion also, and asset true also you can use. Let's see how to use a asset true. Asset true. That asset true also there. You can use asset true. How to use asset true on this thing? Let's see that. What you need to do, you have to write the Boolean condition, right? Driver dot get page source dot contains and the Google. So Google contains or not in this source code. That's what I'm asking to verify that. So asset true, you are expecting to be true, but what it is going to return, either true or false, right? The contains method returns true or false. So this is returning a string dot the string methods. Contains method I'm using. I told you very clearly in the string class, this contains method we're going to use many times. I'll just clear the cookies here. Just clear the cookies. Reporter.log. Just clear the cookies. So I'm inside the after method annotation. After method. Then you can delete the cookies. I'll just do clear the cookies. Okay. So clear the cookies. After each test case, I'm going to call this after method. It will call automatically. We don't need to call. Clear the cookies. Write the clearing the cookies code. What is the clear the cookies code? Driver dot manage method dot delete all cookies. That's the code I'm writing in the after method. Anyway, it will repeat for every test method after. First, before this test method, before method will execute. Then it will come to test method. Then test method execution after method will execute. So let's write the code for the test case. So report dot log started executing. So change the method name. What is this? Google search, right? Google search data driven. So data driven test keyword mandatorily you need to add for the @test. So it indicates that it's a test case. Actually, if you include @test annotation, it is mean that it is a test case. Okay, but in the method name also make sure you use the test keyword and the test method name. So started executing the test case. This one, you just give the method name for. So even if you want to, for which keyword it is executing, that keyword, the parameter name I can write here, right? That's what you can do. Next, so you open the Google already here. You verified the page title. What is the next step? We need to type the URL, right? We already have. I'll just take the code from here, right? Google search we did already. So I'll just take and this entire code and this one. I'm just taking this entire code to save the time. Okay. Then I'll optimize and I will just change according to our things. So here all the steps you have to use reported.log. So reported.log and just put so double quotes. Just keep this type the Selenium keyword inside box comment inside this log parenthesis inside. Okay, so type the Selenium keyword, but there are many keywords I'm typing, right? So I want to parameterize this comment also. That this is how to parameterize the comment. So this is the keyword I'm typing. Okay, this is the keyword I'm going to type in the search period box. And here also I need to remove this hard coded value. Just put parameter name. This parameter name you have to write here and see which keyword I am typing. Also I am just using the parameter name. First time Selenium, so Selenium will type here and Selenium value will use it here. So then next time UFT, next time Cucumber, next time Cypress. So every time this parameter value will come from this data provider annotation. That's how it will repeat this test case step multiple times. So let's do this. Submit on this set period box. So write the comment and then you can use submit also. If you want, I can use submit. It's up to you. I'm not denying you can use only this one, not like that. There are multiple methods out there, whichever you want you can use. See here, verify the search results space title, but here Selenium is there, but the search keyword, whatever is this yes contains, that value comes here, right? Then it will fail. What I'm going to do, I'll parameterize this now. Just remove this keyword. Just before that, put yes and concatenate the remaining title. So remaining title you concatenate. Then this also verify the search results. So reported.log, verify the search results count text is present in the web page or not. This step I am logging in the your report. So if you want to log in the report, this is the way you have to do. Then after logging, so this keyword, right? This text I am fetching. So I'm verifying, basically I'm verifying first, then I'm fetching. Next step is fetch the search results. So this is the one, reported.log, and then fetch the search results count to text. So search results count to text, you fetch it. Then I'm storing in this variable. So then reported.log, this text I got that. I'll just print that and search results. So count to text is, so search results count to text, that is count text per search keyword. So the search keyword I'm going to write here. So which search keyword text is this? So I want to know that, right? That's why I'm just putting this and then is, and you write it. So just put in the double quotes here plus txt. So this is the how you will get this search results context for search keyword Selenium is this one. So you can do that, right? You can do that, and we are doing the same thing. And you are splitting that text and taking into string array, and again, and you are printing that also. So in the system.out.println will print to the console, not to the report. So if you want the statement in the report, you have to write this reported.log. You need to write the reported.log results count for yes for keyword is, so you can do that plus and str of 1. So this is what we are doing completely. Then close the test method. So this is the complete test case ending, the test case ending here. So Google search data driven ended. So ended the Google search data driven test for the keyword name. That's it. That's our overall test case we have done. That now executed and written all the code properly. First, declare the global variables wherever you are using. Those variables we declared globally. Then those variables we are using in the methods. So test method, right? Test method inside, and we have written the test steps. All the test steps we have written. In the before method, I want to repeat every test case this before method code. That's why I have written here. Then every test after, I want to execute after method code. That's why I'm clearing the cookies. Then data we stored in the data provider, and I have given some name for this data provider, Google search data. And then before class, just launched the browser and created some initializations, WebDriver weight initialization and assertion class initialization. We have done that. Then after class, I'm closing my browser. I don't want browser to be open. If the driver is not null, you just close the browser. Okay. If you still want, you can put try catch blocks. Try catch finally, always your browser will be closed. Try catch finally, put inside this driver.close. It will close. Before test. So this will be, we are not using any now, but I just written the before test to see the order of execution, how it is going to happen, right? This is what we have done, complete code. So let's see how to run now. We coded, right? We have completed the coding for all the annotations. How to run the test-ng test. Just right click on the class after completing your designing of test case, right click this, run as test-ng test. So JUnit we have run as JUnit test. Now test-ng test case, you have to run as test-ng test. You have to do that. So once you run as a test-ng test, the test case will start, and it detected the test-ng version 7.0.0. Which version you have installed, that version will be shown to us. Then the browser will open. Right, Chrome driver has started successfully. That browser is open for us, and the browser, the first we open the google.com. So google.com will open, and first Selenium keyword is typed, and the value it will fetch, and it will go back, and again before method is executing there, it is coming to test method again, and the value fetches, completes, then goes to before method, the test method, after method will execute, then it will go to before method, then test method, then after method, again it goes to before method. What happened? And 5 are done. Okay, 5 are done. That's why all 5 methods are passed. You can get all the 5 methods count here. You can see here. Search results count text. This one. The count text. So this. I think we haven't included in the system. These are all system.out.println statements. These are all system.out.println statement. But if you want to see the report, see that total test run 5, passes 5, failure 0, skip 0. This report is better than JUnit, right? And you see individual test case messages also you're getting. And you can see here a nice default suit, how much time it has taken. This is the report. You can see nice report. Passed 5, failed 0, skipped 0. Default test. From suit onwards, it is starting. Suit to test to, then class name. The class name, then method name, test method name, and the parameter, what parameter you are giving. Then second test method and parameter, second test method. See that each method, how much time it is taking to execute. So it's very less time to execute each method. It's showing the time also. Okay, where is my reports? Where I'll see my reports or test-ng reports. So what you need to do, first time if you run that test-ng test, you won't see here, that you won't see in your project. So what you need to do, you have to just refresh the project, right click on the project name, then click on refresh. Then you can see there is a test output folder will generate. Test output folder will generate. Under test output folder, expand this. Expand the test output folder. Then you can see default suite1 folder will be there. Then you can see one more emailable -report.html and another report index.html report. These are the three reports I have shown you, right? The first one will see index.html. Let's right click on this HTML file, properties, copy the path, copy the entire path. So I'm copying the path and I'll go to one browser. So in the browser, I'll paste this. I'll paste this. Right? You'll get a report. So this is the one. That is suite file also it will show. Suite file by default, you are not creating a suite file. It will create a one suite file for you. That's a suite file. See XML declaration and doc type and which so test-ng declaration you are doing. And first, then suite tag gease stage development name equal to default suite. Let's say with this name, a folder is generated. I don't know whether you observed or not. With this name, the folder is generated. See that? Default suite under test output. Whatever the suite name you are giving, the suite tag name, with that name, one folder will generate under test output folder. Under test output folder, one folder will generate. Then test tag thread count 5 verbose 2 name equal to default test. So these are all different attributes inside the test tag. Then classes tag. Classes tag inside we have a class tag to represent the individual class. Name equal to say package name dot the class name. Then close the classes tag, close the test tag, and suite tag is closed finally. This is the default testng.xml suite file. This is called suite file, suite file syntax. Now, only one test we have, only one test, default test, and there is no multiple test tags, right? That's what the default test, only one. The reporter output, see the reporter output. So all your log statement will be showing here. So for protractor, for cucumber, for UFT, for Cypress, for Selenium. See that each and every key test method log will be shown to you. These all messages coming from reported.log. You can use a log messages logging purpose this reported.log. Instead of system.out.println, you can use reported.log to show it here. Okay. Next, we didn't ignore anything, right? Ignored methods. Click on this ignored methods, 0 ignored methods. We didn't ignore anything. Then chronological view. So this is the view I want to show you. That's why I have taken all the annotations. See that first, I told you, first in the suite, before suite code will execute. Even though you didn't write any code, but annotation will be called first before suite only. Then before test. Before suite after controller goes to before test annotation. Then before class. This launch browser is the before class. Then before method. Open the URL is a before method. Then Google search data driven test is a test method. then after method, and then after method, after where it is going, again before method it is going, then test method, then after method, again before method, test method, after method, again before method, test method, after method, again before method, test method, after method. So you can observe here, you need to catch one point here. Every test case before, the before method is calling, and then test method is executing. Every test method after method is calling, that is repeating for every test case. So this the cycle is rotating on these three annotations. If multiple test methods are there, then after all the tests are over, the after class code is executed. Browser is after class. We have given the name browser for after class, then after test, then after suit finally. This is the chronological view. You can see which order your annotation methods are going to execute. You can see 5 methods, 5 passed. Show, you can click on show all the methods, it will show it to you. This is the one index.html report. And let's see the next report, emailable-report.html. emailable-report.html. So go here and paste the report. So this is the default test name is default test. Number of test case passed is a 5, skip 0, retry 0, failed 0, time this much time, milliseconds, 45,615 milliseconds. That means 45 seconds it has taken to complete this test case. And these are the, so all the, this is the class name, class below, these are the methods, test methods, default test passed, and you will get again log messages. Each test method log messages are showing independently, right? This is the another report, very useful. You can email this report to your whichever people asking the report, you can email this report. Just take this path and give it to them so that they can see the report completely. The last one, third one is default suit, default test.html. So just right click, properties, and copy the path. So copy this path and paste it in any browser. Every time you don't need to do this thing again and again, right? One time only. That so test passed, failed, skipped, passed is 5, failed 0, skipped 0. And when you started, start date, this is the start date. And then total time 45 seconds it has taken. No groups, right? We don't include any groups. That's why it is blank, it is showing. And see that any so tabular format, each test method it will show you. Any exception comes in the exception column, the exception will be shown to you. Time, how much time it has taken, the seconds, and the instance name you can so it will report the instance. This is the how reports will be generated for TestNG. Any questions? That's all how to write the code. If you're good, I'll start one more test case. So you practice. Yeah.
Hey Ramesh, good. Is it possible to run this program in the debug mode?
Yes, you can do that. It's just again Java code only, right? Just you are just writing the blocks of code. That's it. Wherever you want to put a debug point, you put a debug point.
Okay.
Again, so whenever it comes to that point, it will stop there. Then you have to interact, right? Debugging means you have to interact, right? Line by line you execute. So when you run the debug point.
The same way how we execute in Java, right?
Java, same way. the same way you can execute. Debugging is same, so anywhere, so line by line code execution. So whenever you are putting a toggle breakpoint, suppose I kept a toggle breakpoint here, and it will stop here. It will stop here. It won't further continue, and it will, when it stops here, and you have options, execute next statement, next statement, next statement. You press F6 or whatever it is, F5. You press, and it will keep moving to the next line, next line, next line.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. But you have to select run as a debug mode. Okay, debug mode option. Once you set that is toggle breakpoint, you run in the debug mode. You can run, no issues in that. So that's all about how to create a TestNG test case. Now, so another very important scenario we are going to automate now. The next scenario is, I'm going to take up this. So ZK demo, this is the one. I'm going to write multiple test methods here. Multiple test methods I'm going to write here. I'm going to write. So this is my landing page. Every time I need to land here, then I will navigate to different pages, different functionality. So I want to test, suppose, date and time picker. Date and time picker. I want to navigate this page, and I will validate this page title, and then, and this is the again pop-up is coming here. Okay, pop-up is. So this tweet I need to click. If we click tweet, another tab is opening for me. I need to switch to this tab. I want to type something here. I need to type something here. So you right click and you can see you have some locators, right? For the edit box. This is the edit box. So email or phone or username edit box. You have locators. So name is there. You can use a name locator. So we don't have ID. Just use the name locator and you can ask to type here, right? So that I will do. But you need to switch to this tab, right? How can you switch? So that I have explained how to switch to the tabs. I am going to write that code again here. But this tweet is inside the frame. Let's see, right click and inspect. Observe this, all this. So you need to understand here, it is inside the frame. You can see here, iframe inside this tweet is there. You have to call iframe code. You have to call iframe code. That iframe code we will call here. Then that method you can call directly. So that's what we are going to see here, how to handle iframes. I already explained in yesterday's class. In the JUnit we have seen, and we are going to use again the same code. And let's see that. This is the one scenario. What we need to do, the first, you launch the URL till this, and then you click on the date and time picker on the left panel. Then you will land in this date and time picker page. Then you need to click on the tweet button. When you open this, when you click on this tweet button, it will open the Twitter account in the next page. Then I want to type the email or username of Twitter. So how can you do that? Because this in another tab, right? Another tab means another new window. This is a web page. And how can you type here? Then I need to close it. After typing, I just do one action on this new tab, whether I can type it or not. Later you want to do, you can continue, right? Type username, password, then you can click on this, right? You can click on this login button, you can click, it will log in. That if you want, you can continue that if you want to log into your Twitter account, right? So I'm just clicking how I'm showing here. In another tab, can we type without switching? Not possible. I told you very clearly. And you have to switch to this tab. Then you can do action on that tab elements. on that window elements, you can do action. I will do action, some just typing, and then I'll close this. Then I'll switch back here. Then I'll type here some date. So I'll type the date. That's one test case I want to do. How can we do this? So let's see how to do this. And then next test case, I'll go back. So every time my landing page is this one, I have to come back here, and then I'll go to next button. So next scenario is a button test. So I want to fetch all these button names. All these button names I need to fetch into my collection. I have to iterate it, and then I need to print these names. I need to print these names. How can you print? This is another test case I want to do. This is the second test case. Then go back. So then checkbox test. So then I have to click on the checkbox link. It will go to checkbox page. Then I have to select all these checkboxes. How can you select all the checkboxes? This is another test case. And after selecting all these checkboxes, you see that you have selected text. I want to fetch all this text. What are all the boxes I selected? That names I need to fetch. How can you fetch it? This is the dynamic, right? For example, some I didn't select it, so that will be omitted from this text. So that dynamic text, this one, how can you fetch this dynamic text? So this is the one test case I'm going to do. Then I'll go back again. Another test case. So radio button test. So another test case is a radio button test. So I land here, and then I need to select these radio buttons. See that when I select these radio buttons, whichever you can select, whatever it is, then the feature value is showing here. So if I select a different one, the feature value will change. That's a dynamic value, right? Dynamic value. How can you fetch that dynamic value? Then I want to select ZK Sandbox. See, website value ZK Sandbox. If I change the forum, it will change to forum. But how can you fetch this dynamic website value? And then developer guide I want to fetch. Say developer guide value. And if you change, so the XPath what you are going to construct should be unique. It doesn't matter what you are going to select, but this value, whatever the value here, you need to get it. So that's a dynamic XPaths we are going to construct, and we'll get that values, whatever the value it is there. It doesn't matter. I don't worry about what text it is going to come here, but based on this text, I'll get this value. So this is the access XPaths only will help you here. No other context will help you. No other locators will help you. Only access XPaths will help you. Okay. So that is the one I'm going to use here. So these are the four test cases we are going to write. So let's start with the first date and type picker. So I'm going to take again same this code, same code I'm going to take up, but I'll just whatever the necessary I'll take. I need only before class to launch my browser. One time only I need to launch my browser. So all browser launching code I'll keep inside my before class annotation. Then and after class annotation I'll close my browser after all my test cases. So then you can do before method. Every time I need to land in this page, right? In this input page. So here I need to land here. So this is my before method. So my landing page. So this is my landing page. This is my landing page. So here this launching this URL and verifying this page title is my before method code. Every test method, this has to be executed. That's why I'm going to keep in the before method this one. Then after method, I'll just clear the cookies and I'll come back to here. Okay, I'll clear the cookies and I'll come back to here. So this is what the two annotations and then multiple test annotations I'm going to write here. So let's copy this. I'll just change it. Later I'll change all the other annotations, whatever I don't need, I'll just do that. The name you change it. The name is ZK demo test. So ZK demo test. So just change it to ZK demo test. Select that class. Unnecessary things all you remove, right? Unnecessary things you remove. So I don't need a data provider. Just remove this. And then, so you don't need this keywords, right? You don't need these keywords, but I'll use a different keywords. So I'll use this description. Description keyword I'm going to use, that is a tweet pop-up test. So tweet pop-up test. I'll change the method name also. Tweet pop-up test. Tweet pop-up test I'm doing here. So I don't have any parameters. No need any parameters here. So we don't need any parameters. That's it. Then before method we need, right? After method also we need. Before class I need, after class I need. So other annotations I don't need. Just remove them. Okay. So now before class we don't need to change anything. This is the same code. And after class also you don't need anything. Just keep it as it is. So in the before method I need to use, open the ZK demo website. So demo website. So that URL I'm going to give here. So give that URL. This is the URL. Just give this URL. So I'll ping you in the chat for you so that you can practice this. So by the time you come tomorrow, you can finish all of them. Right? Just you can use that for writing. So wait for the page title. So wait for the page title, that is, so get the page title. How can you get the page title? Just go here and right click. So inspect element. Look for the head tag. Head tag inside. You look for title tag. Title tag. Where is the title tag? Title. So here is the title. You can see here. Copy this. Copy this value and paste it there in the validations. So title is, and even assertions you can use in the assertions also. All the assertions I'm using here. That's it. This is my before method. And after method, the clearing the cookies. You don't need to do anything. That's enough. First test method. First test method is a tweet pop-up test, right? So my test method is tweet pop-up. So this parameter we don't need at all. Then first one, what we need to do, you need to click on what we are doing. Click on date and time picker, right? You need to click on here, date and time picker link. Just spy on this. See, you have a tag. Yes, right? It's a link. So I'll just take the link name. Link name I will take, and I'll go here, click on date and time picker link in the left panel. Link in left panel. Left panel, you do that. Just we clicked on this. So driver dot find element, click. The method name is coming in the step name itself. Driver dot find element by dot. So if it is a link, what locator we need to use? So link text locator. So then date and time picker value, you can pass it here. That's a link name. Dot click method. That's it. So you clicked, what will happen? It will go to next page, right? So next page it is going. So then verify the next page title. So verify the date and type picker page title. So click on this, it will move to next page. So here you are coming. This is also called breadcrumb input. So this is right, greater than symbol, date and type. This is also breadcrumb, we call this. So you can validate this element also if you want. Okay. So this breadcrumb you can validate. This entire breadcrumb, you can just see crumb link. So you can see nav ID breadcrumb is there. You can verify this breadcrumb is there or not. That breadcrumb is both input and date and time picker. So you can validate this also if you want. So ID breadcrumb is there or not, you can check, right? You can validate this also if you want. So let me validate this. And also I can do a lot of other stuff also. Page title, first we'll do page title, presence of multiple. I can just do that. Verify the input date and time picker breadcrumb. Okay, so remaining also I'll delete. Okay, by ID, we have ID, just pass the ID. That's it. Breadcrumb. This breadcrumb I am validating. And also you need to validate the page title, right? So let's validate the page title. So you just give the page title here. What is the page title? So copy the page title, go to the HTML and get the page title. You go to head tag inside, you have a title tag. Look for the title tag and you will get that, and value you copy and paste it in the verification step. This is the one you can see here. So this title you have to paste it here. So this is the title. I am looking for this title. You can put assertions for this. If you want to put assertions, you write hard assert dot assert equals or assert true. Just do assert true. Okay. Even there is a message also. You can put a message also there, right? Driver dot get a page source. In this page source and contains this value or not, I'm just checking. You can do like this also, validations. So this is the perfect validation. This just waits, but this one is perfectly asserting. So that's a breadcrumb also you did. Okay, done. So next what? Next what you need to do? So we're going to do, and so this frame, this again tweet, we need to click, right? We need to click on tweet. So we need to click on tweet. Tweet pop-up, test case is ended, right? Tweet test case. Now I need to handle the iframe. Basically we have one utility class. I'll put all those methods in the utility class so that it won't be any problem. You can call any point of time wherever you want. So let's copy that utility class. Even we have this in the inside our blog. Inside our blog you have this. So let me show you that utility class so that you won't get any confusion. This is the utility methods. Can you see this? This class you just copy as it is. Okay, this is the name. Just give it the name utilities. Utility class. You just copy paste this entire code. Okay, and then I have here. I'll just take from here. So let me take from previous thing, utility class. This class as it is, you copy and paste it here. So that I'm going to include my all frame related methods here. So I don't have those methods, but I'll include now. I'll include now. So I'll include all those methods here, right? So frame related methods, frame related methods, all I'll copy paste. So we have done in the frames. So frames test, these private methods. So these two methods, so we should not put a private, but I'll change there. Okay, I'll change there. So just paste it here so that it will be useful. You make it a public. So you need to use in other places also, right? That's why you will make it a public. So private means you cannot use it. That's why I'll make static so that we can call easily. So no need to create object for them. Oh, oops, driver you have to make a, so driver, change driver to static, but why? So we use it here also, driver, right? Otherwise I'll do one thing, I'll put one more web driver here. So web driver, driver. So that's it. Here you just need to pass a web driver variable. That's it. Done. Okay. So now that is ready. So next iframe code also we need to paste it here, right? So iframe code, switch to iframe. This method also you need to put inside the utility class. Just create that class, and these methods we have already, just one by one you can paste it there. So here I'll put, so web driver, driver. Okay, so done. So these are the changes I have done, and I can call my methods directly here. So first I need to switch to the reporter.log, switch to the tweet iframe, switch to the tweet iframe element. So that's in that tweet. So utility dot switch to frame. Why it is not showing this one? Okay, non-static method I didn't make. Yeah, this one I didn't make a static method. So I'll just make it utility dot switch to method. See that you can pass web element. This one I'm taking. So driver I passed. So this current driver I passed, and frame element I need to pass. So driver dot find element by dot id, you have just pass the id. So go here and just check this. So you have id of this frame. So frame, this is the frame, iframe. So this iframe has id value and class value also there. But class is very big, so I'll take id. So id is simple. Let's take id value and give here this to identify that frame. So it's simple, we call the method. That's it. I'm not writing again driver dot file switch to method dot frame. I'm not writing, and all there I have written so much code for try catch blocks to catch the exceptions. So simple one method. This is how you need to create a reusable methods in the WebDriver. That's why Java is a very important. This concept will help us there. Okay, so let's do this. Finish it. Now I switch to the tweet frame. Now I need to click on this, right? Click on reporter.log, click on tweet button. Now click on tweet button. Without switching to this iframe, you cannot click. It won't recognize that. It won't recognize that. Driver dot find element by dot xpath. I'll write an xpath. So I'll construct an xpath for this. So you have this tweet text. So the tweet text is a span text. Don't take IDs, all these things. I'll just depends on this text. So if you have a text, how can you write XPath? / span square bracket. Either you can use a text function, right? You can use a text function. I can give a text directly. Dot click method. So once I click, what is happening? I'm getting another window, another tab I am getting. So immediately you need to fetch all the windows. So what is the next step? Reporter.log fetch all window IDs. How can you fetch all window IDs? What is the code? Set string handles equal to driver dot get window handles. This is the code you need to write. So import the set collection. Set is available in java.util package. So import that, and then so you got all the collections here, right? All the window IDs. First parent window, then child window ID. Tweet window ID will be there. So you need to iterate this. So we are going to iterate with the iterator method. I'm going to show you first example I have explained you while theory part. That is, I will extract my both window IDs and I will store in the some variables. Whenever I need each variable, parent window and child window IDs, I'll use them. Right? Let's extract and iterate this. So iterate the collection. So iterate the handles collection. So using iterator method. So iterator method we are using to iterate. So iterator method, this is a collection method. So iterator method returns iterator interface, right? Iterator interface. So string type we are iterating, it equal to handles dot iterator method. That's it. So this is the code I told you I'm going to use several times. This iterator interface. This method is returning iterator interface. So now I can extract first. So reporter.log fetch the parent window ID. So I want to fetch the parent window ID. String PID equal to it dot. How can you get the it value? With the next method. Next method will give. So just print the parent window ID. So I'm printing parent window ID. I got the parent window ID. So parent window ID is. So I got the parent window ID and I stored in the PID variable. Then fetch reporter.log. Next one, fetch the child window ID. You can say tweet window ID, right? Tweet window ID. Tweet window is nothing but a child window. Tweet child window ID, or you can write clearly so that it will be easy for you to remember. String child ID equal to it dot next. So you got now parent window ID and you got child window ID. Now you can go anywhere, right? Whichever window you want to switch, you can switch. Now I'm going to switch to the child tweet window. So I know my tweet window ID. Then only I can switch. Without knowing any window ID, you cannot switch. Please understand these concepts. You got them into collection, fine, but you have to extract those values. Or you can do many ways. So one is using iterator concept and extracting and storing in a variable. Otherwise, very simple way you can do, convert this set into list collection and list dot get of 0 means first window, parent window. List dot get of 1 means child window ID. That also you can do. with a get method also you can do if you don't want to do all this iteration. Okay, so that's another way I'm helping you to do that. You can try that. Okay, so what is the other one I am telling? So convert the list set into list collection, then on that list collection call the get method. So the get method has index, right? You have to pass index. So in the order it will be there, right? The collection is list collection is ordered and you can access based on the index. But set collection we don't have index based. That's why you cannot use get method on the set collection. Okay, so now I switch to my child window. So what I need to do, I need to type. I'll just wait little bit time. Okay, so because it is loading slowly, little bit slowly it is loading. I'll use 2 seconds. So 2 seconds I'll wait, then I'll type. So I switch to the child window. Now I move to tab. This line will take the cursor to this tab, guys, the tweet tab. It will take to this tab. See, this is taking time to load. This is taking time to load. See that, how much time? Even 2 seconds also, I'm not sure. So you can give time, okay? You can give time. And so you can wait for this is visible. This element is visible. And I'll take this element locator. Then I'll type the value here. So this name is there. So I'll use the name locator. Type the reporter.log. So type the Twitter account email or username, whatever it is. Okay. So driver dot find element by dot name, the name value. Okay. Dot send keys. I'm just giving my Twitter account. Okay. ramesh3@gmail.com. This is my Twitter account. I'm just giving. Otherwise, randomly give. If you don't have, no need any, just random data you give, username, right? So then after typing, so I'll come back. I'll close my child window. So reporter.log. You can complete your login process also. So no problem. Just we are checking whether you are moving to that page or not, you are doing actions or not. And then when close it, once your action is done, you can close it and you can come back to parent window. That's what we need to check. Are you able to do all these actions? So close the child window. Why close the child window? So I don't want this. I want to come back to my parent window. I want to do other actions in the parent window. My action is done on the child window. So how can you close this tweet window? Driver dot close method. Close the tweet child window. Tweet child window. So closed. So now it has closed. Now you need to switch back. So reporter.log switch back to parent window. So I can switch. How can I switch back? Driver dot switch to method dot window method of, you give the parent window ID. Just give the parent window. If still not working, you can do one more thing. Driver dot switch to method dot default content method also you call, right? You can call the default content method also. You can do that also. Okay. And this line already you have in the utility class. Why can't we use the method? Utility dot default, switch to default, just pass the driver. That's it. If this is not helping, then you call. Otherwise, I'm just giving an optional. Okay, but if you call, it will work perfectly. So this also, if you call, it will work perfectly. Now you came here. Now what we need to do in the parent window? First, I need to identify this edit box, the date edit box. See, you have, don't take ID in this website. ID name you should not use. These are dynamically changes. So don't use that. So I'm just using C class. There is no option, there is no chance of changing this completed text jet date box input. That's why I'm taking this class value. I'm identifying. First identify the reporter dot log. So identify the date picker edit box. Okay, edit box. So how can you identify? Web element. So date picker edit box equal to driver dot find element by dot class name. So by dot class name, the class value. Just give the class value. So web element, import the web element. Import the web element. Then, so first I need to clear the content, whatever it is there. Reporter dot log. Clear the content in the date picker edit box. So how can you clear? So call this element dot. What method you need to call? Dot which method? Clear method. So now type the value. So type the value. I can copy this. So type the what are the date you want. Type the date in the date picker edit box. So the element date picker edit box element dot send keys. So I will type. So tomorrow date I will type 01/2021. So I'm just, that's the complete code, right? So I switch back to my parent window. I'm doing the action on the parent window. If you are not switching back these two lines, if you're not doing, and these actions are not possible on the parent window, because it will always look for the child window only if you're not switching back to the parent window. So let's run this test case. So we'll run the test case. Run as test ng test. So let's see it is doing action or not. See, it is navigating to date and time picker. So tweet is opened. Okay, failed. It didn't type. So let's see what is the issue. Failed. So just don't worry, just read. No such element exception. No such element. Unable to locate element. So session, I think something wrong we have given this value. So if you are getting a problem with this, line number also you can get easily. See that line number also you will get. So you can just look for your class here. I'm telling one more time how to debug. So look for your class name. What is our class name? ZK demo test, tweet pop-up test, find element method is failing. Line number 61. So this is what it is failing. So what I'm going to do? Okay, this is the name value, but we have given class. That's the reason it is failing. Okay, so run this again. So you got why name, no such element exception you are getting. The locator whatever you have given is wrong. That's why you are getting no such element. But this is the name locator value, but I have given class name locator value. Class name locator I have given. Locator name I have given wrong. So that's why run it back. See that this again it is keep on opening. That's why you have to use it the try catch block. It will close that browser. It won't be open state. That's why finally block you include that close code. So it will close always. I'll use that after this running. Let it run. Then I'll run that code. Done. See that? So that is the how you can execute. So what I'm going to do here is small change. So we will stop here, guys. So I'll include simple dot sleep. I'll put 1 second. So I'll surround with the try catch block. That's it. So let's include finally block here. Let's include finally block here. That's it. So now your browser is, I'm going to use here quit method. Let's use quit method. So we didn't use quit method, right? Let's use quit method here. That's all. Okay. That's it for the day. Tomorrow, rest of the test cases we'll write and we'll explore all the